when you make mistakes like this, it's not going to work out. It's going to be bad against a team like the Ravens. You had 2 missed field goals. They had a red zone fumble, a disastrous end to the half, and Baltimore's just too good. They're going to make you pay. And they did. Now you look at it, the Ravens are hanging on to the 1 seed with the win. They become the first AFC team to clinch a playoff spot. The Jags are in quite a frisky 3-way tie in the AFC South. Delaney Walker will break it down. I want to know if one of those 3 teams, let's say all 3 teams make it into the playoffs, who's built to win a playoff game out of those 3? That's my question for Delaney Walker. What's yours, guys? Hit us up in the YouTube chat. We're doing that giveaway today. Colts, Texans, and Jags in a 3-way tie. Jacksonville does have the first place situation. They've got the 3-1 record against Houston and Indy. So there's that, but there's like a very little margin of error. It's sort of actually completely evaporated as we head into the final 3-game stretch. I cannot believe we're at this portion of the season. It makes me very sad, but it's exciting right now. It's a total juggernaut. And the one, exciting headline with all the misery that accompanies the quarterbacks being injured at a clip that we have not seen is that it's close and it's sticky everywhere. And it kind of makes it interesting. And it's going to make those week 18 matchups very savory. Okay. We also have the bad news that Trevor Lawrence got a concussion during the game. He is now in protocol. The way they play, the way they built the offense for him to play, his size, it all matters. And he's just got to be as close to 100% or it falls apart and doesn't work. I don't know what it means for them. Hopefully he's okay. But as far as this game, it's all about Lamar. He was at the height of his powers all game long. Nobody's talking enough about his passing, what he's able to do. I love that it got the bright lights treatment of Sunday Night Football because the Jags didn't make things easy, but he was routinely making something out of nothing out there and doing stuff. You can't point to a quarterback that can do it. I don't know. He finished with 171 through the air, 97 on the ground. He basically was the entire offense for this Ravens squad last night. And it's hard to argue when you see games like that anyone is more valuable to their team's success than this guy. And in case you're wondering, over at FanDuel Sportsbook, Lamar has jumped Dak Prescott. Ooh, spicy. And he moved into 2nd place in the MVP race. Let me look. It's plus 450 over at FanDuel Sportsbook. So you've got to think if Baltimore gets the 1 seed, and they've got big matchups. He can put up a show against the Niners. He's got the Dolphins on the docket. I mean, Brock Purdy has emerged as a favorite. He's putting up numbers that are like Brady-esque. So it's like tough to think that and Brady's the favorite at minus 200. But I'll say this, and I was watching this with a really intelligent NFL fan yesterday, and we saw this play. We watched it together. And if you're looking at this, let me make sure we're watching it live. We are. Okay. Does anybody else in the MVP race, I'm talking McCaffrey, I'm talking Purdy, I'm talking does anybody have this moment? Does anybody have a play like this to compare? If the MVP, and it kind of is because the voters, they don't see every game. They don't see the early window slate. They see these big moments, these games. Is anyone as impressive? Of course, CMC's made some awesome stuff happen and Brock's had clutch throws and Dak, whatever. This is like this is what I want my MVP to look. When I think MVP of the season, I want to think back to a play like this that nobody else can do. Is there a signature or iconic moment that stacks up to what Lamar was able to do against the Jags last night? There isn't. So I think he's going to get the MVP love. And if he keeps it going, gets the 1 seed, and puts on a similar sort of performance against the Niners, against the Dolphins, I think he sort of locks it up. Unless Purdy, of course, takes it. But that's another story for another day. Okay, let's move on to Buffalo. Buffalo, Bills looked great. And they're doing what I've been begging this Bills team to do since I can remember, which is just run the ball, distribute the ball, be a more balanced attack. Why don't you guys do it? Why don't you add a run? Like they kept it going. They demolished the Cowboys. Big concerns with Dallas here, but this is legitimately one of the hottest teams in the league, this Buffalo team, and they're right in the thick of the playoff race. So before we get into the specifics, there were a lot of implications playoff wise. Hamilton wanted to get this out. So if you peek at what it means for both the Bills and the Cowboys, look, the win helps Buffalo keep pace with the Bengals, the Colts, the Texans in a 4-way tie for the final 2 AFC wildcard spots. So they're still on the outside looking in thanks to these tiebreakers, but they're very much in the mix and alive in the AFC East as well. If you look at the Cowboys side of the street, so we're going to the NFC here, they slide from the 2 seed, and by the way, the NFC East lead, I believe, all the way down to the 5. So they'll move back in the division lead, into the division lead and the 2 seed if the Eagles do happen to lose tonight. And we'll get a check-in on those quarterbacks and what's going on. They're big game tonight with implications in the NFC playoff picture. And also worth mentioning, The Niners, of course, and we saw Brock Purdy running off the field, cute as ever, cute as a button, just saying we locked up the NFC West, which was great as they beat the Cardinals. They put up 45 points yesterday, but it's the first time that they've won back-to-back division titles since 2011 and 2012. For the Bills and the Cowboys yesterday, I was not surprised to see Buffalo's offense put up points. And Hamilton set the tone for this, talking about the motion of the ocean that is our guy Joe Brady and what he's able to do. But what they did is sort of unbelievable. They ran 49 times for 266 yards and 3 scores to pick up the win. Josh Allen, do you know how many passes he completed? 7 for 94 yards. This was the most rushing attempts the Bills have had in the game since 2017. That was a blizzard game against the Colts, where my dear friend LaShawn McCoy, as we all know, was doing his thing in the snow. We were wondering, how is he possibly doing this? Does he have warmers in the bottom of his cleats? What's going on? He's melting through the snow and dicing it. Remember that game? That was a long freaking time ago. And it's not the Bills football that we've become accustomed to, or the way that the Bills have run their offense with Josh Allen. Like, he's the runner. He's the one putting the icing on the cake with the rushing yards. But they might run their way in and make some damage. And it was James Cook. Some people want to say he's been doing it all year. Some people want to say he got the Kay Adams up and Adams interview bump. I don't know. We talked to him on Friday and he was insane. He had 27 touches. He racked up 221 total yards, a touchdown catch, and the touchdown run that you just saw. So it's the third best output as far as total yards we've seen this season. It was topped, only by the Dolphins, DJ, whatever. This was the game. This is what we need to see. The offense was totally pounding the ball. Defense stepped up big time. So the rest of the AFC, listen, they've had a bunch of chances to bury the Bills. That's how I see it. You had your shot at saying they're not good, they're disgruntled. They fired their OC, and y'all couldn't take care of business and put them under. Like, we couldn't do that. I would, you AFC teams, I wouldn't want to be you, and I wouldn't want to be facing this Bills team down the stretch. What else should we talk about? Let me see, where are we at time wise? Okay, we got some time. Let's do it. We've got Delaney Walker on the show, guys. We've got Darren Sproles coming on the program to sort of preview the Eagles. What is one to make of Matt Patricia calling plays all of a sudden? Should I have faith? Do I have recent faith in him taking over? What does it mean to remove your Sean Desai defensive coordinator vibe and change it like very soon ahead of a huge pivotal matchup in the NFC? We'll get to that. Of course, they've got the Seahawks tonight. We'll get to that with Darren, Delaney Walker, lots to talk about with him. I'm curious what he has to say as an OG about Aaron Rodgers on the sidelines yesterday, watching what went down with the Jets, or what wasn't going down with the Jets rather. But let's get to this Jets-Dolphins game because it was a 30-zip shutout by the Dolphins without Tyreek Hill on the field. Everybody was wondering, what is this Dolphins offense going to look like without him? I said last week, please, Tua, put on a show. Please, because there was a whole rhetoric of Tua's exposed because he didn't have Tyreek out there, and Tyreek's the MVP, and he's no. And I said, prove it. He came out and made a statement. Okay, but this is not. You can say what you want about the Jets. The Jets have a top 5 defense. Okay, Tua completed 13 straight passes to start the game. He finished 21 of 24, 244, 142 of those to friend of the show, interview bump, Jalen Waddle. He also led 6 scoring drives. 6, you guys. And you can say what you want. This Jets defense has been dominating opposing quarterbacks all year long, and they could not get it done. And I know it's going to take the Dolphins beating, not the Jets, because I can say how good their defense is, and you guys don't care. Nobody cares. You guys don't care. It's going to take beating the Cowboys. It's going to take beating that red hot Ravens team you saw last night, and maybe the hottest team in the game right now, the Buffalo Bills. And that's who they have the next couple of weeks. We forewarned you. Nothing was going to matter all of November into December until this slate of the action was happening. But make no mistake, people, what happened yesterday was really significant for the Guitar Manning cast playing Tua. And we should also throw some love to the defense. They were missing 5 starters yesterday, 5 defensive starters. 4 takeaways still. Bradley Chubb steps up in a big way. He had 3 sacks. I know it was the Jets, but this is the same offense that did look great against a red hot, like fiery Texan squad last week. Miami defense didn't give them an inch before Zach Wilson got injured. Okay. So I think we learned a lot about the Dolphins yesterday as far as resilience, as far as Tua, what he's able to do. I hope it's all quiet on the main radio, the main TV stations about Tua today. Are they going to give him some love? Probably not. But they're going to trash him? No, they aren't. They've got even more to prove. Nothing changed for them, I think, either. They're just number 2 seed in the AFC. Everything's calm and casual. And if they win out, they capture the 1 seed, by the way, which would be super sweet for a first round bye. Okay. Hey, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe right here. Do it now for the latest from Up and Adams.